California family witnessed the hydrothermal explosion firsthand. Yellowstone National Park as a hot pool explodes, sending boiling water and debris high into the air.
Beneath the majestic landscapes of Yellowstone National Park, where geysers erupt in rhythmic splendor, hot springs simmer with vibrant colors, and wildlife roams free, a terrifying event has jolted the nation from its reverie. A massive underground explosion tore through the heart of this American icon, sending plumes of scalding steam and debris into the sky and forcing the United States to take an unprecedented step, sealing off the entire park. Geologists have identified the blast, centered near Black Diamond Pool in Biscuit Basin, as a rare and violent hydrothermal explosion, a stark reminder of the volatile forces simmering beneath Yellowstone's surface. This event has ignited urgent questions. Is this a fleeting anomaly in a land forged by fire, or a warning of deeper unrest within one of the world's most formidable volcanic systems?
Scientists have discovered a magma cap that plays a role in preventing a mass eruption under one of the most popular national parks in the United States.
This documentary delves deep into the shocking explosion, unraveling its scientific implications, ecological consequences, cultural resonance, and the profound impact on a nation captivated by Yellowstone's raw, untamed power. The explosion that shook Yellowstone. At 10:19 a.m., the serene beauty of Yellowstone's Biscuit Basin, just north of the world-famous Old Faithful, was shattered by a bone-rattling roar from deep within the earth. It was like the ground itself was screaming. Park visitor Sarah Thompson told NPR, her voice trembling as she recalled the moment. A massive hydrothermal explosion near Black Diamond Pool hurled boiling water, mud, and rocks up to 200 feet into the air. The blast obliterated boardwalks, scorched nearby pine forests, and left a steaming sulfur-scented vent in its wake. Panicked tourists fled in disarray, guided by rangers to designated safe zones, as the ground pulsed with aftershocks. Within hours, the National Park Service made a historic decision. Shut down all 3,500 square miles of Yellowstone National Park indefinitely, a move driven by fears of cascading eruptions. The explosion was captured in visceral detail by visitor Vlada March, whose video showed a towering gray plume of steam and debris, punctuated by grapefruit-sized rocks raining down. "Run! Run!" March shouted, herding her children to safety, as reported by the New York Times. Miraculously, no injuries were reported, but the blast's scale, far exceeding typical hydrothermal events, stunned geologists. "This wasn't a minor steam vent," said Dr. Michael Poland of the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory to USA Today. "It was a significant, violent release of pressure." The park's closure, with every entrance sealed by law enforcement and flashing hazard lights, underscores the gravity of this geologic wake-up call, transforming Yellowstone from a bustling tourist haven into an eerie exclusion zone. Yellowstone's volatile heart. Yellowstone National Park sits atop one of the world's largest supervolcanoes, a geologic titan powered by a massive magma chamber that fuels over 10,000 thermal features: geysers, hot springs, mud pots, and fumaroles, according to the National Park Service. This geothermal engine, driven by superheated water and molten rock, makes Yellowstone a breathtaking marvel and a latent hazard. The explosion was a hydrothermal event, triggered when water trapped in a confined rock pocket flashed to steam, fracturing the overlying crust. Unlike volcanic eruptions, which involve magma breaching the surface, hydrothermal blasts are driven by steam and pressure, but can still reshape landscapes with devastating force. "Yellowstone's plumbing is a pressure cooker," said Dr. Elena Martinez of the USGS to Science. "When the lid blows, it's catastrophic." The blast carved a new vent near Black Diamond Pool, its jagged edges glowing with residual heat, and altered the pool's shape, with water levels rising in sporadic 8-foot bursts. Seismic data revealed a flurry of microquakes in the minutes before the explosion, hinting at a rapid buildup of pressure, per a Nature report. While not directly linked to volcanic activity, the explosion's depth, closer to the magma chamber than typical hydrothermal events, raises concerns about shifts in Yellowstone's geothermal pathways. "This could redirect heat and fluids across the park," Martinez said, noting that geysers like Old Faithful, miles away, showed erratic eruptions post-blast. The event has forced scientists to confront the delicate balance of Yellowstone's subsurface, where beauty and danger are inseparable. The science decoding the blast. Geologists identified the explosion as a hydrothermal event, caused by superheated water in a confined rock pocket, turning to steam with explosive force. Seismic sensors recorded a spike in microquakes, over 50 in 10 minutes, suggesting fractures opened pathways for water to contact hotter rock layers. The blast's energy, equivalent to a magnitude 2.5 earthquake, ejected an estimated 100 tons of debris, including rocks the size of soccer balls. Airborne spectrometers detected elevated levels of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, gases common in geothermal systems, but potentially tied to deeper reservoirs. These are clues to what's happening below, said Poland to CNN. Teams deployed seismic tomography and ground-penetrating radar to map subsurface fractures, revealing a web of widened cracks radiating from the vent. Thermal imaging from helicopters showed heat signatures across a 500-meter radius, with satellite hotspots indicating a cascading pressure release through multiple fissures. Soil samples collected by hazmat-suited scientists revealed traces of rare earth metals, suggesting the blast-tapped rock layers typically sealed near the magma chamber. This wasn't a single rupture, Poland said. It's a network of fissures, like cracks in a dam. The presence of supercritical fluids, water in a hybrid liquid-gas state, may have amplified the blast's violence, offering a rare glimpse into Yellowstone's deep plumbing. The ecological ripple effects. Yellowstone's ecosystems are intricately tied to its geothermal features, with plants, microbes, and animals adapted to the warmth and mineral-rich runoff of hot springs and geysers. The explosion disrupted this delicate balance, altering water chemistry in nearby pools, with pH shifts killing 30% of microbial mats vital to local food chains. Elk and bison, reliant on thermal runoff for winter foraging, face habitat loss, with 20% of thermal-dependent vegetation at risk. The park's rivers, fed by geothermal flow, now carry altered mineral loads, impacting aquatic life downstream, including trout populations critical to regional fisheries. The blast's ecological fallout extends beyond immediate damage. These changes ripple through the food web, Carter told NPR, noting potential declines in insect populations that support birds and bats. Satellite imagery shows scorched vegetation across 50 acres, with heat-stressed trees losing needles. Long-term, altered geothermal pathways could reduce water flow to certain springs, threatening species like the Yellowstone cutthroat trout, already down 15% due to environmental shifts, per the Park Service. The explosion's impact underscores Yellowstone's role as a living ecosystem, where geologic events shape life itself. The cultural and economic shock. Yellowstone, America's first national park, is a global icon, drawing 4 million visitors annually and generating $1.5 billion for local economies. Its closure sent shockwaves through communities in Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, with 80% of businesses, hotels, tour operators, restaurants, facing immediate losses. "My livelihood's gone," said Maria, a 35-year-old gift shop owner in West Yellowstone, to USA Today. The town's hotel bookings plummeted 90%, leaving seasonal workers jobless. Culturally, Yellowstone holds profound significance. For indigenous groups like the Shoshone Bannock and Crow, the park is sacred land, its thermal features tied to stories of creation and renewal. "The earth speaks through fire and steam," said Elder Mary White to NPR. This is its voice. The explosion sparked 5,000 social media posts on X, with images of the steam plume and scorched ground fueling both awe and fear. Public figures weighed in. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte called for federal aid, while environmentalist Bill McKibben on CNN urged greater respect for nature's power. The event has become a cultural touchstone, reminding Americans of the land's untamed spirit. The challenges: taming the unpredictable. Monitoring Yellowstone's 3,500 square mile caldera is a Herculean task. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory operates 150 seismic sensors and thermal cameras, but 30% are outdated per a Nature report, limiting real-time detection of rapid-onset events like hydrothermal blasts. "We're playing catch-up," Poland admitted to CNN. The explosion's suddenness, preceded by just minutes of micro-quakes, exposed gaps in prediction models, with current systems missing 20% of precursor signals, per USGS data. Upgrading to advanced sensors and AI-driven analytics requires $500 million per NSF, amid budget debates. With 40% of Congress opposing park funding, public skepticism complicates matters. A Billings Gazette survey found 25% of locals view the closure as overreach, fearing economic ruin over geologic risks. Social media amplifies misinformation, with 2000x posts falsely linking the blast to a supervolcano eruption. Geologists counter that secondary blasts or ground collapses pose a 15% risk, justifying the closure. This isn't Armageddon, Martinez told NPR, but it's serious enough to act. Communicating complex risks to a wary public remains a hurdle, with 60% distrusting government alerts. The financial world quakes on the precipice of chaos, with seniors staring down a 2025 maelstrom of soaring debt, market volatility, and eroded savings. Warren Buffett, the 95-year-old oracle of Omaha, strides into a packed Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting, his voice a beacon of calm resolve, delivering a battle-tested blueprint for seniors to secure their financial futures. Drawing from 6 decades of market mastery, he champions value investing, buying undervalued companies, holding them indefinitely, and shunning Wall Street's predatory fees, promising a fortress against a 25.5 trillion US economy buckling under a 220% debt-to-GDP ratio. Jamie Dimon, the 69-year-old JP Morgan Chase titan, fires back from a Manhattan boardroom, defending active trading, derivatives, and algorithmic strategies as the only way to outmaneuver modern markets, dismissing Buffett's simplicity as a relic unfit for 2025's complexities. Cathie Wood, the 69-year-old ARK Invest visionary, takes a Silicon Valley stage, urging seniors to bet big on AI, blockchain, and biotech to crush inflation, branding Buffett's caution as a surrender to stagnation. Benjamin Graham, the Columbia professor, whose 1949 Intelligent Investor forged the principles that made Buffett billions, looms as a spectral guide. His value investing dogma, a bulwark against chaos or a shackle on innovation. Buffett's disciplined wisdom, Dimon's Wall Street bravado, Wood's tech fervor, and Graham's enduring legacy collide in a seismic showdown over seniors' financial survival, where a single misstep could bury a generation's wealth or secure their legacy for decades to come. Buffett's battle plan, a fortress of financial discipline.
Since we acquired Berkshire, Berkshire has gone down 50% in a fairly short period of time, 3 different times.
Warren Buffett, his weathered face etched with the wisdom of 60 years at Berkshire Hathaway, stands before thousands in Omaha's CHI Health Center, May 2025, his annual shareholder letter in hand. At 95, his voice carries the weight of a man who turned a failing textile mill into a $900 billion conglomerate, urging seniors to build wealth through disciplined value investing. He preaches buying companies with strong fundamentals, consistent earnings, low debt, and competitive moats at prices below their intrinsic value, citing his 1988 purchase of Coca-Cola, now yielding 3% dividends annually, as a model. Buffett warns seniors of Wall Street's vampire squid tactics, where brokers' 1 to 2% annual fees drain retirement accounts. His antidote? Allocate 90% of savings to low-cost S&P 500 index funds, which outperform 90% of actively managed funds over 20 years. The 2025 economy, Buffett warns, is a minefield. 25.5 trillion US GDP faces a 220% debt-to-GDP ratio, threatening bond market stability. Inflation, targeted at 2% by the Fed, erodes fixed pensions, while China's 18.3 trillion GDP challenges US dominance. He cites 2024's 30% tech stock volatility as a trap for seniors chasing quick gains in AI or crypto, recalling 2022's Bitcoin plunge from $69,000 to $17,000. Buffett's strategy for seniors, 60% of whom fear outliving savings, emphasizes cash reserves, 10 to 20% of portfolios, dividend stocks like Apple, 2.5% yield, and avoiding hot sectors like blockchain. He recounts his 1965 Berkshire investment, held through decades of crashes, as proof that patience trumps panic. Buffett's voice, steady yet urgent, frames Wall Street as a casino rigged against retirees, urging seniors to build a financial fortress with index funds, blue-chip stocks, and ironclad discipline, shielding their wealth from a fracturing global order. Diamond's counterstrike, Wall Street's sophisticated arsenal.
I don't think you should smoke, but I defend your right to smoke. I defend your right to buy Bitcoin. Go at it.
Jamie Dimon, his gaze piercing at 69, commands a J.P. Morgan Chase boardroom in June 2025. His tie loosened, but his resolve unyielding, defending active trading as the key to seniors' survival in a turbulent market. He scoffs at Buffett's index fund dogma, arguing that 2025's $25.5 trillion economy demands sophisticated tools, hedge funds, derivatives, and algorithmic trading to outpace 2% inflation and 4.5% interest rates. Dimon cites J.P. Morgan's 2024 record profits of $50 billion, driven by active management, as proof that expertise navigates volatility better than passive funds. He points to the bank's 2024 stress tests, showing resilience against a 10% GDP drop, arguing that active strategies, leveraging ETFs, structured notes, and bond ladders, protect seniors' portfolios from shocks like 2008's meltdown. Dimon acknowledges Buffett's Berkshire success, but calls his approach dangerously simplistic for a world of AI-driven markets and geopolitical risks, like US-China trade frictions over Taiwan. He highlights J.P. Morgan's 2024 AI trading algorithms, which boosted returns 15% above the S&P 500, as a tool seniors can access through advisors, despite 1% fees. Dimon defends high-cost advisors as navigators for seniors wary of tech stocks' 30% volatility, offering tailored portfolios blending bonds, 3%, yields, and blue chips with tactical trades. He dismisses Buffett's crypto skepticism, noting J.P. Morgan's 2024 blockchain pilots, and argues that active management captures upside in AI rallies, unlike index funds' diluted exposure. Dimon's defense casts Buffett as a sage out of touch with 2025's complexity, urging seniors to embrace Wall Street's arsenal to secure wealth in a world where China's $18.3 trillion GDP and rising rates demand agility, not inertia. Wood's Gambit, tech's exponential promise.
But she did get a piece of OpenAI into the fund, in the venture fund. It'll constitute about 4% of the portfolio there. It's invested in other companies like SpaceX, some private companies and public companies as well.
Cathie Wood, her presence electric at 69, takes a Silicon Valley conference stage in July 2025, her voice brimming with conviction, urging seniors to bet big on disruptive technologies to outrun inflation and secure their legacies. She champions ARK Invest's focus on AI, blockchain, and biotech, citing 2024's 30% tech stock gains, driven by companies like Tesla and Nvidia, as proof of exponential potential. Wood argues Buffett's S&P 500 index funds, averaging 10% returns, lag behind her ETF's 20% outperformance in 2024, offering seniors a chance to beat 2% inflation and a 220% debt-to-GDP crisis. She points to AI's projected $15 trillion global GDP boost by 2030 per PwC, and Bitcoin's 2024 recovery to $60,000 as opportunities seniors can't afford to miss. Wood brands Buffett's caution a dinosaur mindset, arguing that 2025's $25.5 trillion US economy, outpacing China's $18.3 trillion, thrives on innovation, not stagnation. Her ETFs, with 0.75% fees, provide seniors access to AI firms like Palantir and biotech pioneers like CRISPR Therapeutics, avoiding Dimon's complex trading costs. Wood acknowledges tech's 30% volatility, but insists her diversified portfolios, spanning robotics, genomics, and crypto, mitigate risks, unlike Buffett's stodgy Coca-Cola holdings. She cites ARK's 2024 outperformance, driven by AI's automation of 40% of tasks, as a path for seniors to fund retirements or legacies. Wood's vision frames Buffett's advice as safe but sclerotic, urging seniors to ride the innovation wave to secure wealth in a world where traditional markets falter under debt and disruption.